Blessed be everybody, it's time for part 2 of the Practical Tarot Tutor series Rebooted. And in this video we are going to be doing an introductory dive into the Minor Arcana. So the cards designated a suit: cups, swords, wands, and pentacles. We are going to be going into an overview of what the Minor Arcana are, what differentiates them in terms of what they're all about compared to the Major Arcana, and then we are going to be going through the core meanings or the core interpretations of these cards so that you can get down to practice. Now, very much like the first video, we are going to be spending some time just running through all of the interpretations, and that way you will have a reference guide as you go through practicing your readings. However, I did want to mention that this is just part 2 of an ongoing series, and so we will be revisiting these cards as well as the Major Arcana to delve in deeper. However, I have found through teaching my home study course, as well as when I was teaching through retreats and teaching classes in stores and things like that, it was a lot better for everyone to be practicing with a basic foundation to start, right? So you should be practicing now, even if you just started on part 1 and you're only working with the Major Arcana. You should be practicing now so that you can add to your practice later. People who tended to just study and study and study before even bothering to read were the ones the farthest behind. So keep that in mind. Even if it seems like we're going a little bit fast and it seems like we're just kind of giving little sound bites for interpretations of cards to start, this is only part 2 of the series. So how do we differentiate the Minor Arcana from the Major Arcana? Well, again, the Minor Arcana are designated a suit, so anytime you have a card of cups or of pentacles or of wands, or maybe they're using a different term, maybe it's coins instead of pentacles, or it's chalices instead of cups, or it's spades instead of swords, or diamonds instead of pentacles, and so on and so forth, you are dealing with a Minor Arcana card. Now, this applies to both the pips, ace through 10, as well as the court cards, the pages, knights, kings, and queens. When you are dealing with a Minor Arcana card, you are examining events, choices, and actions, whereas you might be looking at, say, a Major Arcana card talking about an overarching theme or prominent influence or milestone. A Major Arcana card is going to stand out, and it's also going to be a stronger influence on the circumstances, and likely something that has its influence have a much longer lasting effect. If you are getting a Minor Arcana card, you are dealing with an event, a choice, or an action being taken, or a circumstance that is coming up that is moving a situation in a certain direction. Remember, as we said in part 1, when we are doing readings and doing forecasts and we are looking into the future, looking into prophecy and conducting seership, fate and destiny are not set in stone. They are tides, right? The tide comes in, sometimes it's a weak tide, sometimes it's a strong tide. But what we do with our actions and our own free will, right, our volition, our ability to take in information and decide, that changes the course of events for each and all of us. Tarot is the traffic report, kind of like how astrology is the weather report. And so what you do with your own volition and your own ability to make decisions and take in information and process it really does matter, because the actions you choose to take matter and change things as well. For the purposes of this instruction, we are going to be looking at the reversals as well. I didn't take pictures of the reversed cards, but we are going to be looking at reversed cards and their interpretations. If you choose not to look at reversed cards, if that's not something you like to do, that is perfectly fine. There are plenty of good readers out there who choose not to use reversed cards. I like to use reversed cards because they extend the vocabulary of the tarot deck, and remember, some cards that are negative upright are actually very beneficial when reversed, so you definitely don't want to be practicing tarot if you're a black and white thinker when it comes to this kind of thing. The more open and the more able you are to get truth from abstraction and to deliver and communicate and articulate firm, clear information, the better at this you are going to be. Now, instead of just going through every single card as I did with the major arcana, I have decided to group everything up according to numbers as it relates to the pips, ace through 10, and group everything according to title as it relates to the court cards, because it's important to also get an understanding of what we are talking about in the context of not just the suits, wands, cups, swords, and pentacles, but also the numbers, aces, twos, threes, fours, fives, six, sevens, eights, nines, and tens, as well as titles, pages, knights, queens, and kings, because those all have significance as well when we are starting to understand an interpretation of what is going on in the reading. So let's start with getting familiar with the suits in just a basic way. The wands, cups, swords, and pentacles all correspond to the four classical elements: fire, water, air, and earth, respectively. So wands are fire, cups are water, swords are air, pentacles are earth. And instead of looking at them in very hard and fast, right, very specific or very narrow interpretations, as sometimes certain literature on tarot might suggest, pentacles always being about money or cups always being about love, I think it's important to find the balance between rigidity and fluidity. That way, you're not making the mistake a lot of not so great tarot readers make, where they suddenly change the subject of a reading because the suits of the minor arcana are not in their, quote, designated suit. You don't want to go into a reading about somebody's job or career and decide that, well, I got a lot of cups, and so the tarot wants to talk about your relationships instead. That is not a good tarot reader. That person is missing a lot of information. An abundance of cups in a work reading is still talking about a work reading. An abundance of pentacles in a love reading is still talking about love. When it comes to working with an understanding of the suits and their elements, I find it's better to look at them in their abstractions. So wands representing passion, intensity, momentum, action, creativity, engagement, power, and drive. Cups representing emotions, connections, spirituality, and a spiritual state or the spiritual state of a matter, as well as investment in terms of emotional investment or commitment to something. Flow and feelings. Swords representing decisions, challenges, tests, thoughts, mentality, movement, and state of mind. And pentacles representing stability, practicality, longevity, health and resilience, even the health and resilience of a circumstance or, say a project or a connection, as well as resources and productivity. That is how I look at the suits when it comes to reading for people and doing predictive work, because I find that it can tell you a lot more about any given situation, even if it might not seem like a locked-in pentacle situation or a locked-in cup situation or a locked-in wand situation. So let's get down to business and start talking about the pips, and we'll also be talking a little bit about the numbers as well, so that you can get more familiar with what might be going on if you have an abundance of a certain number. Aces are all about new beginnings, opportunities, and initiations. The Ace of Wands upright is all about new developments and catalysts that bring new energy, engagement, and power to a desire, passion, or an initiative. Reversed, it talks about imbalanced developments, confused or disorganized starts, passions and energy either lacking or burning out of control. The Ace of Cups, upright, talks about new chapters in relationships and personal connections and personal priorities, deepening bonds and important communications that are sincere and often vulnerable. When reversed, the Ace of Cups is all about blocked or filtered feelings, withheld or hidden truths, or talking about depleted or depressed states or circumstances. The Ace of Swords, upright, is all about offerings, open roads, keys to locked doors, and directions that bring advancement and evolution from old conditions. When reversed, the Ace of Swords talks about a lack of clarity, misused information, wrong use of force, bad ideas, and incorrect conclusions or incorrect directions. The Ace of Pentacles upright is all about new secure gains and ventures, longevity, steady maturing good fortune that will increase over time. Reversed, the Ace of Pentacles talks about, unsecure situations, shaky or risky situations falling apart, plans or pursuits starting on bad foundations, either with the wrong resources or the wrong influences, or possibly just starting in the wrong way or at the wrong pace. Twos are all about balance, integration, unions, choices, and coordination. Wands upright is all about an agreement, a pact or commitment that secures a plan, venture, pursuit, or engagement. Reversed, it represents confusion, miscommunication, bad or inarticulate communications, misinterpretations, wrong assumptions. The Two of Cups upright is all about unity, collaboration, alliance, relationship crystallizations, integration, and partnership commitments. Reversed, it indicates an unhealthy attachment, unbalanced unions, undermining, power struggles, and fractious relationships. The Two of Swords upright represents neutrality, balanced non-involvement, contemplation, patience, and waiting for further developments. When the Two of Swords is reversed, it represents making a decision, choosing a path to commit to, arriving at a conclusion, and maybe making a commitment or a decision at the exclusivity of another option. Two of Pentacles upright, balancing priorities, hectic progress, moving parts all advancing at once, and turbulent growth. Reversed, downsizing or a need to downsize, dropping one priority so another can have room to grow, and the potential for overcommitment. The threes talk about expansion, growth, additions, divisions, and combinations. The Three of Wands upright is all about launching into action, advancement, arrivals, assistance or backup, as well as pushing forward. The Three of Wands reversed represents missed opportunities, overlooked or ignored resources, negative or non-existent assistance, and stalls. The Three of Cups upright represents fun, enjoyment, friendship, closeness in groups, support, unity, and community. Reversed, the Three of Cups represents unhealthy activities or involvements, overindulgence, infighting, gossip, hostility, and alienation. The Three of Swords upright represents heartbreaking situations or heartbreaking decisions, betrayal or feeling betrayed or being the betrayer, loss of faith, loss of love, heartache, and suffering. When reversed, the Three of Swords represents short-term or stopgap solutions, addressing painful situations, and confronting problems and their cores. The Three of Pentacles, when upright, represents productive involvements, successful teams and associations, profitable projects, and combining forces. When reversed, the Three of Pentacles represents deteriorated involvements, suffering projects, loss of momentum or gains, and crumbling teams. Fours represent consistency, structure, foundations, and stability. The Four of Wands upright represents milestone achievements, new foundations, celebrations, I always call this the cause for celebration card, and the attainment of a goal. When reversed, the Four of Wands is still a good card. It represents new foundations being under construction, putting on finishing touches, troubleshooting small problems, achievement in sight, and preparation for advancement. The Four of Cups upright represents frustration, boredom, a rut, stubbornness, unrecognized or unnoticed opportunities, and tunnel vision, not really seeing everything that one should be able to see or not looking where a person needs to look. Reversed, breaking out of a rut, changing paces, and disruptive blessings that are really good for a person or a situation. The Four of Swords upright represents rest, recovery, regeneration, peace, quietude, a timeout, withdrawing or retreating to privacy. Reversed, the Four of Swords represents sudden changes, demanding activity, tiredness or exhaustion, rushes, and constantly shifting situations. Four of Pentacles upright represents preservation, containment or withholding of energies, resources, or information, or time, and turtling up, walling up. Reversed, opening up, sharing or being free with energies, resources, information, or time, and unlocking. Fives represent disruptions, conflict, struggles, and loss. The Five of Wands upright represents competition and competitive opportunities, rivalry, debates, intense activity, and engagements. Reversed, the Five of Wands represents taking a break, relaxing of intensity, ending a rivalry or the end of a competition, sitting out a situation, or taking a break or stepping away from a competitive or heated situation. Five of Cups upright mourning a recent or not so recent loss, processing pains, grief, dejection, and sorrow. Keep in mind that the Five of Cups is not talking about a new loss or a new disappointment or new upset. It's about confronting pain regarding a matter of the past, whether it is recent past or not so recent past. Reversed, accepting a loss, moving forward, engaging new experiences, coping and recovering from suffering. The Five of Swords, upright, represents conflict, hostility, acting out, spitefulness, and antagonism. When reversed, it indicates an end of conflict, a possible truce, contrite or reparative actions, apologies, and the potential for peacemaking. The Five of Pentacles, upright, lack, vulnerability, nakedness, a void, a need to explore alternative sources of assistance, guidance, or resources. Reversed, filling the void, recovering or replacing lacking resources, stabilization of condition, and gaining new sources of security. Sixes represent developing situations, responses, movement, and progression. The Six of Wands, upright, indicates victory, acclaim, success, fulfillment, recognition, and promotion. Reversed, the Six of Wands represents a change of heart, reversing or walking back decisions or judgments, second thoughts, and backpedaling. The Six of Cups, upright, is all about returning to the past, reunions, revisits, or restoring old pleasures and pursuits, nostalgia. Reversed, moving away from the past, ending past patterns, turning over a new leaf, and releasing repetitious circumstances. The Six of Swords, upright, moving forward out of difficulty into brighter new territory. Progress, being guided or assisted with a journey, travel, and improved conditions. Reversed, the Six of Swords represents turning around, returning to familiar territory, a plan canceled or redirected, and a change in course. The Six of Pentacles, upright. Generosity, good faith, sharing, lifting up or being lifted up, giving or being given a chance. Reversed, the Six of Pentacles is all about blocking or refusing, turning down, declining an offer or a proposal, and hanging on to one's own. The Sevens. Sevens represent decisive actions, decisions themselves, as well as efforts and strategies. The Seven of Wands, upright, is all about gaining advantages, standing one's ground, overcoming an obstacle, and getting on top of a difficult situation. Reversed, it represents fighting the wrong battle or confronting challenges the wrong way, lack of involvement, risk of being one's own downfall. The Seven of Cups, upright, represents facing many options, many doors and roads opening all at once, a need to take time to deliberate, being spoiled for choice, possible distractions, and a need to parse out the gold from the glitter. Reversed, the Seven of Cups represents removing distractions, finalizing a decision, committing to and sticking to a plan. The Seven of Swords, upright, represents dishonesty, unstable effort, secrecy, underhanded actions, manipulation, and risky behavior. Reversed, the Seven of Swords represents confessions, revelation or discovery of a secret, coming forward, unmasking, and setting things right. The Seven of Pentacles, upright, represents slow progress, good news down the road, appraisal, downtime, developments behind the scenes that need to catch up, and a treat now and a feast later. Reversed, the Seven of Pentacles represents dropping a burden, walking away from an unfulfilling or disappointing endeavor, redirecting and repurposing one's resources and energies. Eights represent momentum, trajectory, roads taken, and deliberations. The Eight of Wands upright is all about acceleration, fast developments, as well as rapid communications, plans and pursuits progressing ahead of schedule. Reversed, communications, efforts, and plans going awry. Pacing problems, things going too fast or too slow, confused or uncoordinated steps creating problems. The Eight of Cups, upright, represents departure, leaving a closed situation behind, answering the call to a new situation or opportunity, and taking one's leave in that direction, moving on. The Eight of Cups reversed, returning to an old situation, being called back to a situation one walked away from, returning to or the returning of something left behind. The Eight of Swords, upright. Paralysis, an escapable problem, an unhealthy attachment, involvement, or binding, being unwilling to solve or leave a problem situation, overanalysis, overprocessing, and loss of time. Reversed, Freedom, getting out of a binding or unhealthy involvement, attachment, or situation, and getting off the hook. Nines represent completion, results, and culmination. It is the final step in a story or an initiative. The Nine of Wands, upright, being set up for success after a difficult period. A win or victory that needs additional work and care, boundaries, fortified defenses, and perseverance. Reversed, the Nine of Wands represents being open, for better or for worse, having relaxed boundaries and defenses, unknown or undisclosed details coming forward, and a need to be careful with one's boundaries and defenses. Are they too high or are they too weak? The Nine of Cups, upright. A wish is granted, a special gift is received, contentment, satisfaction, receiving or being granted a special favor. Reversed, the Nine of Cups says a wish is granted, but it is incomplete or requires work. There's some assembly required kind of clause here. Wishes, requests, and communications are fulfilled, but poor communication confuses their outcome. So one is getting what they asked for, but maybe not what they meant. So they need to be more articulate and intelligent about the way they are making their wishes and communicating their needs and desires. The Nine of Swords. Anxiety, dread, a waking nightmare, fear for the future, insecurity, guilt, and distress. Reversed, anxiety and fear that's all in one's head, a warning against acting on fears or anxieties. Be careful of being the one who maybe creates the self-fulfilling prophecy. One's imagination running wild. The Nine of Pentacles, upright. Achievement, wealth, early payoffs, independent or personal victories, refinement, and a raise in one's personal status. Reversed, compromised wins, uncomplimentary or unhealthy involvements, spoiling successes, tenuous payoffs, and disappointing results. The tens represent final outcomes, integration, long-term changes, and moving forward. The Ten of Wands, upright, represents a gain that will demand much effort and energy, being weighed down by responsibility, high maintenance, or overly complicated situations. Reversed, the Ten of Wands represents simplifying, releasing a burden, making room and time in one's life, relief from obligations, and removing a high maintenance or overly demanding situation from your life. The Ten of Cups, upright. This is the happily ever after card. Plans coming together perfectly, something long sought or worked for is now manifest and tangible, enjoying the rewards of a hard long journey, long-term happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment. Reversed, false goodness, artificial or fake appearances, misdirection from the truth, pleasant exteriors mask discordant activity within, and overcompensation. The Ten of Swords, upright, represents ruination, a bad end to a bad situation, a collapse, a situation that must end because it will only get worse if it doesn't end. Reversed, the Ten of Swords indicates dodging a bullet, a reversal, escape from troubling situations, potential for a revival or resurrection of a once lost or broken opportunity. The Ten of Pentacles, upright, affluence, richness, long-term wealth and prosperity, having much and more for all, a family, group, or community all prospering from a triumph or a victory, a big shift that has a wonderful collateral effect on everything around it. Reversed, a transition is coming soon, a heads up about a change that is around the corner, a temporary bonus or boost to prepare for an ending, a structure or norm is going away, possible community, family, or group challenges, a time for preparation and getting ready for movement. Moving on from the pips, ace through 10, it's time to talk about the court cards, right? The title cards, the pages, knights, queens, and kings, or in some decks, the princesses, princes, queens, and kings, and sometimes they have completely different titles depending on who made the deck. When starting to work with the court cards, it can be a little bit difficult because there's a lot of different literature out there that attributes different factors to each card, and there are all kinds of different styles of reading when it comes to looking at a particular court card. If you choose to leave the court cards out while you are practicing reading, that is perfectly valid and okay. I know plenty of readers out there that only work with the major arcana, and the pips ace through 10, and they let the characters that might show up in their readings show up in the major arcana, such as the Empress, the Magician, or the High Priestess. However, I do think that you will get more specific results and more specific information if you choose to incorporate the court cards, and we'll be breaking this down to make it as simple as possible to start. When you are looking at the court cards, they can represent moods, they can represent specific individuals, or they can represent a state that the querent or somebody is in for the long term or the short term. The context as to what is going on, of course, will likely show up in the reading as you are looking at other cards. Some schools of thought designate that some court cards are people and some are not. For instance, when I read, I do not consider the pages people. Rather, I look at them as messages and communications themselves. And I look at the knights, the queens, and the kings as people. Other schools of thought say, no, the pages are people, but it is the knights that are not people. It really all depends on what resonates with you as you go through your practice. But I'm going to be teaching you the way that I work, and so for the purposes of this video and this instruction, I do not consider the pages to be people. I do consider the knights, the queens, and the kings to be people, and that's how this is going to flow forward. When it comes to determining specific effects or specific factors such as age or astrology or looks and things like that, I would prefer to save those for a future video just so, again, we don't get bogged down in too much information right away. In this video, we are just going to be looking at the base levels or the base interpretations of these cards, and that way you can get down to business, and we'll add to this foundation later. So let's start with the pages. Some people consider the pages to be people. I do not, and I just want you to remember that for this segment. If you consider the pages to be people, that's perfectly fine and valid, especially if you're getting accurate results from it. But for the purposes of this instruction, I'm going to be teaching the way that I work. The pages are similar to the aces, as they indicate a new unfoldment, but coming in the form of a communication, message, or a directive that can be explored. When the pages are upright, they represent the pure spark of their suit, going to work. When they are reversed, they represent a failure of their suit or a failure in their suit, whether it is the failure of a directive, communication, message, or plan. The Page of Wands, upright. An invitation, message, suggestion, or idea that will launch or speed up progress with a hope, desire, or new opportunity. Reversed, an idea or opportunity that goes nowhere. False promises, all talk, no action, and distractions. The Page of Cups, upright, represents an invitation, message, gift, or gesture that will foster a new bond, connection, friendship, relationship, or opportunity. When reversed, the Page of Cups represents unwanted communications, unwanted gifts, unwelcome affection or attention, incompatibility, and discomfort. The Page of Swords, upright, represents a message, an invitation, direction, or a proposal that will open locked doors, answer questions, open roads or shortcuts, as well as test for opportunities for advancement and problem solving. When reversed, the Page of Swords represents misinformation, disinformation, bad math, wrong interpretations of facts and intelligence, rumors, hearsay, and conjecture. The Page of Pentacles, upright, represents an invitation, message, plan, or development that will bring an idea forth into being, put a project in pursuit or motion, or evolve and grow an existing project or pursuit in a more substantial way. When reversed, the Page of Pentacles represents unsound plans, projects falling through, structural or foundational problems in a pursuit showing cracks, quitting or dropping an unfulfilling or unhappy involvement. Moving on to the Knights, we see the Knights as the embodiment of their suit. They live and operate through their suit's chief themes. When they are upright, the Knights are movers, actors, and champions of their suit's best qualities. They are in their element, and they are extremely proficient at doing the work of their respective suit. When reversed, they are possessed and taken over by the worst qualities of their suit and kind of doing everything the wrong way or going about everything with the wrong means or the wrong choices. With the Knight of Wands upright, we see high energy, enthusiasm, an extroverted and adventurous nature, somebody who is action-oriented, passionate, proactive, courageous and confident and well-connected. When reversed, we see somebody who is scattered, disorganized, impulsive, flaky, shallow, selfish, being uncommitted or undisciplined, and prone to flightiness. With the Knight of Cups, we see somebody who is loving, an idealist, imaginative, creative, artful, generous, transparent, contemplative, thoughtful, insightful, affectionate, and open-minded. When reversed, we see somebody who is very ungrounded, unhealthy attachments, or somebody who is prone to unhealthy attachments, fixation, conflict aversion, indirectness, insecurity, inconsistency, lostness, and incoherence. With the Knight of Swords upright, we see somebody who is ambitious, direct, solution-oriented, decisive, bold, articulate, quick thinking, assertive, systematic, experimental, analytical, and explorative and outspoken. When reversed, we see somebody who is reckless, explosive, inarticulate, hostile, reactive, actions that risk collateral damage, somebody who lacks self-control. The Knight of Pentacles, upright, we see somebody who is steadfast, productive, secure and responsible, protective, harmony-oriented and harmony-driven, conscientious, hardworking, consistent, and having strong integrity and persistence. When reversed, with the Knight of Pentacles, we see rigidity, workaholism, abrasiveness, unsatisfactory work, overcompetitiveness, criticism, one who is emotionally shut down, self-alienated, or bitter. Moving on to the Queens. The Queens represent the experts and the mentors of their suit. They correct, perfect, and evolve what is in their influence to be the best it can be. When reversed, they warp what is in their influence by distorting and defiling the energies and purposes of their suit. With the Queen of Wands upright, we see ambitiousness, congeniality. They are motivated, supportive, promoting, outgoing, creative, uplifting, and inspired. When reversed, we see somebody who is controlling, acting out, pushiness, pressuring, dishonesty, petulance, gossip, and bullying. With the Queen of Cups upright, we see somebody who is caring, big-hearted, magnanimous, supportive, intuitive, charitable, nurturing, peaceful, and resourceful. When reversed, we see somebody who is manipulative, deceitful, clingy, dependent, vampiric, prying, a career victim, kind of a toxic empath. With the Queen of Swords upright, we see fairness, straightforwardness, wisdom, clarity, independence, organization, a problem solver, and high intelligence. When reversed, the Queen of Swords is vindictive, abusive, and prone to bias and prejudice. They are punitive. They weaponize their wounds and hurts that they have endured themselves. They are switching from being the victim to the abuser, prone to distorted black and white thinking. With the Queen of Pentacles upright, we see somebody who is an independent success, somebody who is self-made, artful, enterprising, humble, somebody who loves their work. They are invested, down-to-earth, and achieved. In reversed, we see negligence, wastefulness, laziness, taking advantage of other people, somebody who is unqualified, lacking skill or education, or coasting on others' work. The Kings are the commanding and directing forces of their suits. When upright, they establish new expansion, accomplishments, and longevity for what is in their influence and the highest interest of all concerned. When reversed, they corrupt what is in their influence through excess and abuse of these energies and abuse of the purposes of their suit. King of Wands upright. A fun-loving, encouraging, and passionate individual, somebody who's very driven, benevolent, as well as multi-talented and influential. Reversed, we see immaturity, somebody who is chaotic, directionless, egotistical, fraudulent or plastic, selfish, superficial, and thrill-driven. The King of Cups upright. We see somebody who is compassionate, insightful, empathetic, self-sacrificing, noble, gracious, perceptive, and hospitable. When reversed, we see somebody who is a user, wound-centered, controlling, duplicitous, complacent, evasive, fearful, disloyal, and cowardly. The King of Swords upright, we see somebody who is highly knowledgeable, strategic, inventive, innovative, curious, open-minded, clever, and trustworthy. When reversed, we see somebody who is hiding information or distorting information, incomplete truths, untrustworthiness, a false persona, lies, and omissions. With the King of Pentacles, upright, we see somebody who is dedicated, stable, accomplished, stalwart, as well as somebody who is patient, prosperous, and selfless. When reversed, we see somebody who is greedy, status-driven, controlling, judgmental, oppressive, possessive, a sellout, or somebody who is selling out, somebody who tries to control with power. And that concludes the basic foundational meanings of the minor arcana, the pips, and the court cards. Please remember to practice as you go through your exploration of tarot. Feel free to use this video and video number 1 as a guide for answering any kind of confusion or maybe refreshing any understandings when it comes to meanings and interpretations of the cards. However, you also want to be building on what you are reading as well. Every single reader eventually builds up a repertoire of interpretations of the cards that are a mixture of what is foundational and what is discovered through their own work, their own journey, right? Working with their own psychic abilities and their own guidance. And it's really important to be open to that and to not let yourself get locked in. Readings that are performed with a fundamentalist or dogmatic or religious kind of adherence to certain correspondences or interpretations of the card are never as accurate as readings that are done by real psychics. And in order to train yourself, you are going to be using the tarot and building on these yourself. And it's expected, it should be expected, that you come up with interpretations that are just for you and your readings and could be building on top of what I've provided or what other teachers have provided, or things that have nothing to do with what we're providing, but they are also extremely accurate. Remember, at the end of the day, when you're doing readings and predictions for people, it's about results and how accurate you are. It's not about adhering to a dogma or a fundamentalist attachment to a certain type of literature or presenter. So make sure that you give yourself the freedom to be open, to work, and to practice. Practice, practice, practice. And so that concludes part 2 of the Practical Tarot Tutor series, the Minor Arcana. Stay tuned for part 3, where we will be doing practice readings. I will be doing real readings for questions that I will be getting from people I know. And but for the time being, I've got to go and do hugs and cuddles with Persephone. Do you want to say anything as we close up? Okay. That means she is just not feeling it tonight. It's kind of late, actually, at the time of recording this ending bit. Thank you so much for dropping by, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it, and of course engagement helps this channel grow. And if you have any questions you'd like me to follow up on, or anything you would like to see discussed as a special tarot topic, please let me know. And we will eventually be also talking about incorporating astrology and exploring the astrological correspondences of the tarot as well as looking into timing and looking at physical descriptors and other cool cues and keys that you can read in the tarot. So bye for now. Hope you are all doing very, very well. Don't forget, for a practice reading or a practice spread, you also have the Celtic Cross that we discussed at the end of part 1. I expect you all to be practicing. Remember, practice as you go, and we will be back again soon with more demonstration readings in part 3.